Hello, my name is Kitiwe, and I am a priestess. I am a walker between worlds, and I'm here to talk to you today on this video about some abundance codes that I picked up while on sacred retreat on gridwork mission in Maui this past year. So if you're into hearing about grid work, accessing, higher dimensional realities, the mysteries, knowledge, spiritual abilities, if that interests you, definitely like and follow for more. There's going to be a lot more of this content coming your way. And I've been sitting on this video for a minute. So I always work best when energy just moves through me and I channel the energy and information to you. So let's just begin. And one of these keys and codes that I picked up on Sacred Retreat was around abundance. And abundance has been a journey that I have personally been on for consciously for about 13 years. And I come from very humble beginnings. We grew up with lots of government support to pay bills, to pay for rent, to, have groceries on the table. Like we lived very simply, very frugally, surviving, right? Surviving. And now, I can make six figures a year. I make 5-figure months. I've hit that in my business, starting last year, and it only is getting more from there. So it's been quite the journey that I've been on, and I have also, opened up myself to traveling the world and experiencing, the good side of life, but that has come from deeply diving into abundance codes, right? This has come from my gifts. The abundance has come from my gifts. It's come from the energy work that I have done, some mindset, but it's mostly been about expanding myself energetically and following my destiny path, following what, God and the divine is whispering to me. And as you follow that, as you anchor more into your gifts, as you share that with the world, as you activate more power and potency, abundance is an inherent experience, right? Because abundance is the divine. And so the more that you are bringing the divine into your life, into your mission, into your work, as a code, abundance has to follow. And so this is definitely one of the arms of my work, one of the pillars of my work that is a massive one because there are so many people, and of course, spiritual people like you and me. If you're watching this, you most likely are. It's people who are in tune that have this wounding around abundance, around money. And even though you desire it and know that it's part of living a life in the 3D, it can be very hard to receive, to feel good about that. Right? So if any of that is you, like let me know in the comments if this is an experience that you've had as somebody who is spiritual, somebody who's on a sacred path, on a journey, and you had shall we say, complicated relationship with money. And it doesn't have to be that way. Let me just be very clear. You can walk hand in hand with God on your destiny path, following where you need to be and receive. That is actually the design. That is actually the true kingdom that we are all here to experience and be a part of. So, yes, you absolutely can be deeply spiritual, deeply devoted to your path, deeply God led, and also be receiving massive abundance, right? And it is truly limitless and in so many forms. And so, one of the codes when I was there was really about seeing through the illusion, right? Because when I speak about money, I'm speaking about abundance. I'm speaking about the true energy, right? As it was intended for us to live on earth. Now, when most people talk about money, it's coming from the programming, right? And what most people don't know is money in the 3D programming that we're dealing with and exchanging is definitely based in some pretty dark energies, right? Now, this is where we can kind of get off track here because people go, well, see, money is bad, money is evil because of the dark magic that has been placed upon it. And there's just a whole there's a whole rabbit hole to go down upon that. And it's like, that is one paradigm of money, right? And so that can be a block if you only see it through that lens, which is a truth, but not the highest truth or the only truth, right? Myself, having worked through all of these patterns ancestrally from other timelines at a collective level, I have accessed true abundance codes. So when I speak about money, it is not coming, and when I experience money, it's not coming from dark magic grids, right? And this is why I can receive it so cleanly. This is why my system, that is very sensitive and in tune, can receive money more and more and more at higher and higher levels. And I feel so in alignment with it, right? And so many spiritual people are feeling the darkness. And maybe they don't even realize this is what they're feeling, right? With money. And this is why there's one of the reasons why there's a bit of a resistance between themselves and receiving a lot of money, like more than you need, more than what it takes to survive in this world, right? Um, because you're aware of something, right? Beneath the level of consciousness, you're aware, oh, this doesn't feel good. This money doesn't feel good. But it's because that was never the source. That was never meant to be the source of money for people like us. And in fact, until we kind of make this adjustment over into the fifth dimensional economy, which is where I now reside and help people move into themselves, it can feel slimy. It can feel like it's not in integrity, even if you're using your gifts, even if you are putting something out there that does come from the higher realm, something that is very sacred and deep and true and just in that line, right? And so when I work with people, this often comes up with very spiritually in tune people who are here to bring in the fifth dimensional reality as part of their mission and assignment, right? And so we have to understand, right? I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and say, "Oh, all money is good," right? That is definitely like a spiritual, like a new age spiritual mindset of like, "Oh, money isn't bad, money is good," but they're completely negating and bypassing the very real um, systemic perversion of this form of currency that we all partake in on this planet currently, right? There has been a systemic, intentional perversion of our economy, of our trade. So it is very dismissive and naive to say, oh, money is inherently good, because in this system that we are born into to alchemize, no, the roots are dark. The roots go back to Babylon, even before then, right? Dark shit. Now, when I say money is good, it's because I'm talking about the fifth dimensional economy. That's why I can say that in my truth, right? But I will never deny somebody's experience and say, oh, all money is good. Don't worry about where it's coming from, where it's been, who's made it, who's touched it. That is not at all what I would say, or just bypass, because that's not the whole truth either, right? It's about moving from one paradigm to another and feeling the clean energy, right? The pristine, crystalline money abundance energy. And when you are moved over into the fifth dimensional money paradigm, that's when most light workers, mystics, right? Priestesses, healers can feel really good about allowing in a bunch of money, because you know that the source of it is pure, right? You know that it's going to come into your life and bless you and then be released from your life and bless others, right? It becomes this infinite giving and receiving, which is the opposite of the current monetary system that 99% of people partake in, which is somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, right? At the end of the day, it's very parasitic. And so when I was in Maui, there was an experience that we had there that really showed me the difference, right? We were pulled into this ultra wealthy space, a super high-end hotel. We were invited there by somebody who wore a mask. And the mask fell pretty quickly once we were talking to him for longer than, a few minutes. But the energy was primarily the 3D wealth, right? And the energy there was very, what's the word? Predatory. That's what I'll say. Predatory. And so we kind of walked in our 5D money energy, in our light, and we saw the hungry eyes, right? We saw the wolves in sheep's clothing and high-end couture who were trying to take, who were trying to extract from us. Now, of course, we are protected and anointed, right? So that couldn't happen. But I noticed very quickly my energy drop when I was in there, right? In this space that was a five-star hotel, five-star restaurant, lounge, always wealthy people around, right? My energy quickly dropped. And I was like, oh, there's some siphoning happening here, right? And it really had me refine my ability to discern gold from fool's gold, right? All that glitters isn't gold. So just because somebody dresses lovely, wears a smile on their face, says the right things, is in a beautiful, well-crafted, high-quality environment, right? This does not mean that they are virtuous or good. And that lesson was just very much cemented in me because now in my next chapter of life, moving into higher and higher levels, shall we say, where I will also be moving in communities and groups that are affluent. This is a discernment. This is a key that I need to hold to be able to differentiate, right, between somebody who is grounded and also in service to the collective and service to humanity, while also holding massive wealth, because that is a possibility. That is something that is going to be seen more and more, versus somebody who operates in that same, let's say, luxurious caliber lifestyle, but is extracting, right? Is harming the planet, is harming others, is playing a zero-sum game, right? There has to be winners and losers. This very much toxic paradigm that the ultra wealthy currently exist in, right? It doesn't inherently have to be that way, but there is a process to move from one to the other. And I have to be able to see who's on what team. So this was just such a super interesting way that this lesson was completely pounded into me. And so now when I meet people, the gift was given to me to be able to discern, right? Because people can appear on the outside similarly. They can speak in the language that they know you want to hear, right? They can wear a smile. They can say that they're for the right things, because this person that invited us, who was this, mask wearer who did not have good intentions, but put on an act, he said all the right things. He smiles, lovely person, charming, right? But dangerous. And so it was such an eye-opening experience. And I'm always being refined and led into spaces where this can be fine-tuned so I can navigate the old world as we're collectively building the new. And so this is just one key I wanted to share here. So if this spoke to you, leave a comment, and stay tuned for more, because there's going to be a lot of these videos coming your way that are just so needed right now in the collective as we are moving through a really potent time in human history. And if you are somebody who knows that you're here to create wealth, as well as serve a mission, as well as be here to be working together, moving humanity forward into a higher level of consciousness through your work, through how you're called to do that, whether you're a healer, you're a writer, you're a speaker, you're a visionary, you're an inventor. But if you are walking a powerful destiny path, this is a place that you want to be. So I'll talk to you soon.